Hey, this is Dave with Front Porch Ideas and more. If you've been following us, you know we make lots of projects for the porch. And so today I'd like to show you how to make this neat holiday mailbox complete with stuffing the mailbox with packages and letters. It's a great project, easy to do. So come along with me and we'll head to the shop and I'll show you how it's done. So you can use some scrap wood that you might have laying around. I like using my scraps for different projects. This is 1/4 inch. You can use 1/2 inch, 3/4 might be a little heavy for this project, but it can work also. So another thing, if you don't have some scrap wood around, I'm sure perhaps one of your neighbors has or somebody at work has some laying around. It makes it really cost effective to do these small projects. So first thing we're going to do is make the mailbox. And what I've done already is I said I used some scrap plywood. And what I did is I cut this down, and you need 2 of them. These are about 9 inches wide by 16 inches long. Cut 2 pieces, that forms the sides of our mailbox. And then I'll show you here in just a second how we're going to put these together. And one of the first things we're going to do though, before we do that even, is I'm going to round this back corner off using a jigsaw. You could use a handsaw and just cut it at an angle and sand it. I can show you that. And we're going to form the sides of the mailbox first. So stay with us. Okay, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm actually going to use some duct tape. I'll make sure they're square to each other. They should be exactly the same size, and I'm just basically going to tape them together because I'm going to cut the round corner off of this. Is the back of the mailbox top. I'm going to round that over a little bit. So just taping this like so, I use some duct tape, helps to hold those 2 together while I tape that. Now what I did is I just drew an arc with a protractor, but you could even do it by hand if you want to. I just drew a little line so I know it. And I'm just going to use my jigsaw and just cut that part off. Okay. Okay, what I did is I rounded this as the back of our mailbox. It just gives it a little definition. And one thing, if you use a jigsaw, make sure you use a fine-tooth blade on plywood. It makes it a lot nicer cut. And as you can see, the edges aren't all banged up from the blade itself. So the next step we're going to do is give this box a little width. So hang with me. Okay, so what we did is we have our sides of our mailbox cut out. So now I'm building the frame on which these frames will sit. So to separate them, so I've used 1x3 poplar, and I've cut 2 pieces the length of the mailbox, and I cut 1 piece, that's the height of the mailbox, minus the thickness of these supports, and this will fit right in here on the back. So this forms the back of the mailbox, and this will form the top. So when I put these together, pull this together, we will have, show you, a mailbox with an opening, and that's where we're going to put our presents and our letters and things out there. So I'll show you how we'll put this together next. And to cut the back so it's rounded off. So stay with me here, and it'll be the next step. Well, what you could do instead of using poplar, you could use plywood. Anything as a spacer in here. You could use you need at least a 1/2 inch thick plywood or 3/4 inch plywood as spacers in here between these 2 mailbox panels. You don't have to use poplar. Just I had scraps on hand, and it's easy to use for my shop. Okay, what we've done is I've put glue on one of the frame supports. We're going to attach the sides to the frames. I put some glue there. I'm going to lay this on here and line it up. And I will probably use a block just to help me make sure I'm square to that, and put a little nail in there to hold it until the glue dries. Like so. And I will repeat that process and get this glued up. And I'll do the same thing with the frame on the top. So now we'll have the bottom and the top attached, and then I'll do the other side to it. Okay, I've attached the two frames to the side. I just want to make a cautionary note that you want to leave one end open. And so in this case, we're going to leave the square end. I'm going to close off the round end. This will be the back of the box, and I'll show you how to round that off here in just a second to round the whole thing off. But make sure you put the end cap at the on the rounded part of your mailbox. Okay, all I'm doing is putting some glue on this, and then I'm going to attach the other side to it, and make sure that both your curved ends are on the same corner. Of course, I've never made that mistake before by putting it on the wrong way. And all I'm going to do is put a few nails in here and let the glue dry, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so what we have is kind of a mailbox. We're going to cut this corner. I'll show you how to do that once I let this dry. It's nail put together, and we'll slip our packages and letters in there, colorful letters and packages, and I'll show you how to finish this. And once we have this all glue dried, and we're ready to cut it again. All right, so what we've done is I glued up the sides. Just to catch this up, I've glued up the sides to the frame. And I also took the liberty of going ahead and rounding this kind of square edge, and I used a jigsaw, and I cut that part off. If you don't have a jigsaw, you can just use a regular saw, wood saw, and cut it straight across, and then you can sand it. And I sand this down, you can sand it down. So either way, it works fine. And then I took the liberty of putting it on a router, and I just routed this edge around. But you can do the same thing with an orbital sander, or a just block and sandpaper. You could do the same thing and just round those edges off. So now we have starting to look like a mailbox. And so our next step is going to be to go ahead and make the gifts and the letter and things that we're going to put in the mailbox. And then we have the post and everything else to make. So stay with us and we'll finish this up. All right, let me catch you up to where we are now. As before, we have the frame built, we have the sides on, everything's attached. We rounded off the back of it to make it look like a mailbox. I put the mailbox door, a little door on here on the front of it, and I've mounted a support system. This is going to go into a PVC pipe. I'm going to show you in just a second, and why I did it this way. Now, all the details of this project are on our website, so I'm not going to go through every one of them here. They're there, the cut list is there, and I show you in detail how I made this. So what I have is the mailbox is completed, the support for it's completed. I also made the flags for the mailbox, and I made 2 of them because this mailbox is designed to be seen from either side or both sides. So it'll be replicated, all the details are replicated on each side of the mailbox so that you can put it on your porch or in your yard. So I have the flags that will go on there. And I also have the packages and letters, and I did that out of the 1/4-inch plywood also, scrap pieces I had. And I have, and right now they've been painted white primer, and we're going to paint them in holiday colors. But basically I have packages to go in here and letters, and that again will be replicated on both sides so that no matter which way you look at it, you'll see it. So all this will be painted, and we're going to show you that in just a few minutes. So to put this together, I needed one more thing, and that is a stand to put it on. So I quickly built a little stand out of scraps, scrap plywood, and some other pine I had on hand, and I'm building this to be able to put the mailbox on it. So what I've got is I got a scrap piece of PVC pipe. This is a 2-inch PVC pipe, and I'm going to put this over that, and the mailbox sits in it like so. And there you go. Now we can set this anywhere, and I'll cut this to the right height. Now for your project, you build it to fit your porch or your yard. So you may want yours taller, smaller, or whatever, so you can take our details on our website and then modify them for your own holiday mailbox. So stay with us and we'll finish it up and show you how we're going to paint it up for the holidays.
So we have our mailbox painted white, and now it's time to decorate. So what Dave and I decided we wanted to do is to put some big Christmas ornaments on each side of the mailbox. So we found a stencil online, and we just downloaded it and cut it out of plain paper. I'd recommend using cardstock, but the plain paper is working for us fine too. So we just got out our craft paints, and we're just picking out real colorful colors. Reds and greens and aquas and pinks and lime greens. And so I've already got the first ornament stenciled. We're going to do 3 on this side. So I'm going to just show you me finishing this first one up. And I'm just using a stencil brush, but you could probably just paint it with a regular paintbrush, but I had stencil brushes on hand, and you just want to make sure you don't use too much paint or it will seep underneath the paper. So if you kind of start in the middle and blot it on, and just do a pouncing kind of action and just up and down. And the reason I'm putting on quite a bit of paint is because we also are glittering our ornament to make it really shiny and sparkly. So it's just really fun. So we're doing that and got that filled in pretty well. And now it's time for some glitter. We have lots of pretty glitter. So just sprinkling this on, and I think what we're going to do when we're done is we might polyurethane over the whole thing as well, just to keep it all in there. So we got that done. So let me show you how the first ornament on this side is turning out. Just carefully take the stencil off. Oh, and I didn't do the little top part yet, but there you can see how it's turning out. We got the ornaments all painted on our mailbox now, and Dave and I decided we wanted to do one more little thing. So what we're doing is we're putting 2 red stripes at the bottom of our mailbox, and how we're doing that is we're just put painter's tape on and created a thin line there, and I just painted it red and I glittered it, and now I'm going to take the tape off and show you how that looks. And then we're going to also do another line right below it. Looking mighty good, and it just kind of gives it kind of a festive, and kind of reminds me of a candy cane stripe, and it's sparkly too. So we're going to add one more thin line like that underneath here, but we have to wait for this to dry before we can put more tape on. So now we're getting ready to paint our envelopes and our package that's going to go in the mailbox. And so this is going to be the package, and I'm just painting it a bright blue, and I got this funny little thing. I'm not even sure where. I think I got it at a hobby store. I'm going to drag this. I can just show you here. I'm going to drag it through here to make a cool design. And then we're going to put some ribbon around this to make it look like a package coming out of the mailbox. And then we're going to do the same with the envelopes. We're going to paint them, and we're going to write an address on it and make it look like a stamp in the corner. And just have it showing out of the mailbox. It'll be fun.